What's up, y'all? I think that was too loud. Sorry. How is everybody doing? Sorry, just trying to find my live chat. There we go. Hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. Happy St. Patty's Day. I'm not wearing green. I'm sorry. I might have something green. I'll find it later, but I will wait for you guys to show up. It's been a minute since I've live streamed on a Sunday. Hey, Kaiwan. Sorry if you can hear like weird noise in the background. I got the laundry going. You're liking Jason's story so far, loving it really, because Jason is finally acting like somebody from like he was, two-dimensional character. I won't lie, I'm still not enjoying the story. I hope that I do. Friday was officially the first episode under Elizabeth and Patrick. And it was a Jason-less one, which was surprising. But I'll get into all of it. How was your guys' weekend? Oh, you never hear anything? Well, that's good. I can never tell from, this end. You might hear the buzzer once it's done. That buzzer is pretty loud. Oh, man. Hey, Nathan. Just relaxing. It was actually like 15 degrees here today, Celsius, which is great, but like Wednesday's gonna be -5 and 90% chance of snow again, so just tried to enjoy it while I could. Alberta, it's known for its false springs, and well, this was one of the days, so yeah. I'm starting to feel better. I'm not coughing as much, thank God. I've tried every trick in the book. And I think I've found something that kind of works. But I'm still coughing a little bit, so if I cough here and there, I apologize. But I rehearsed today, just at home. The band and I were rehearsing this Friday. Again. But the show is pretty fleshed out, so I'm excited. My voice is slowly getting back to its original form. But my voice might be a little bit hoarse because I did just finish rehearsing my whole set. And I was coughing here and there through it, so sorry if I sound a little bit off, but it's okay. I'm healing. But yeah, welcome back to General Hospital Envy, my GH after show. Been a minute since I've live streamed on a Sunday. To be honest, it might be the final Sunday until after the show, because now it's kind of crunch time before the live show. But I will live stream Wednesdays though. And then once my show is over, then we'll go back to kind of regular programming on here. But thanks for your patience, everybody. All right. Well, what are you saying? What are you guys saying? I gotta go back to the office tomorrow and starting on Wednesday. I think they're gonna get rid of Marshall. They didn't renew the actor's contract. Interesting. Time will tell. Alright, well, speaking of that, this week on General Hospital marked the last of Chris Van Eaton and Dan O'Connor's sort of tenor on GH, with the first official day of Elizabeth Cordy and Patrick Mulcahy. I probably sabotaged his last name, I'm sorry. They aired this past Friday. So Friday marks the first official day. Personally, I feel like the transition has been a little bit jarring more than usual from like in the past when we've transitioned into new writing teams. But it does make sense given they were just on the heels of penning Jason's return when they were let go. And the new team's plan is to take this story into a new direction from whatever it was going to be. So I've been giving GH a bit of grace. I'm not enjoying the Jason story, but I do have hope. I'm going to have hope and trust from here on out that the story will feel a little less bumpy now. We'll see, though. We'll see. But yeah, we're recapping GH in the week that it was. Most of the week was about Jason. The majority of it. And it's not surprising because it is kind of, the big story to happen in a while. And there's lots to discuss about it. Like I said, Jason's return so far has been less than stellar for me, with a lot of head-scratching moments. I know some have been enjoying it so far, but I do think there may be a slight bias because people are just happy to see Steve Burton back on screen, and so am I, don't get me wrong. But I care a little less about the fact that he's here and a little more about what they'll do now that he is. This week, after reuniting with Carly very briefly, Jason had to escape Carly's house when John and Anna searched for him. And he managed to escape and decided to make his way to Stone's old bridge, which Anna predicted and went to. And when the FBI and Anna cornered him, Jason jumped into the river below and washed up at the Quartermain boathouse and passed out for the night. Meanwhile, Carly texted Sonny to meet her on the rooftop of the hospital where she was going to drop the bombshell on him, but obviously he already had learned of the news through Spinelli's footage. And Carly is dumbfounded to realize Sonny's genuinely concerned that Jason shot Dante, like he actually kind of believes it. And truthfully, I'm just as shocked as she is that Sonny, not to mention most of the town, isn't convinced that he didn't shoot Dante. Because, when the last time that he turned up from the dead, while there was still another Jason in town with Jason's memories, they didn't think twice about him being the real deal. So it's quite the switch. If anything, there was more evidence to support that Jason didn't shoot him, between the fact that Dante was clearly taken care of, as well as he could have been at the time. He was found between, he was found with the wrapped wound and whatever, and obviously there's the recorded 911 call that Jason clearly dialed and spoke to the person on the line. But I guess at this point, Sonny doesn't really trust anyone anymore. He doesn't trust anyone except for Ava and I guess Lois. It's just interesting. It's interesting, and I don't know. What are you guys saying? Hey, Angel, does Jason not realize John is Jagger? I don't know. Truly. I don't think we've seen enough of the flashbacks of that scene. We'll talk about it in a second here, too. But yeah, part of the reason why I'm not enjoying the storyline so far is that it's the fact that no one trusts Jason. It doesn't make sense. People are saying they want it to not be true, but they're not sure. And that just seems very, I don't know. It's hard to convince me of that when the town was so, Jason worship. And I think he was dead for a shorter amount of time than he was last time as well. It just feels like a very Jarly leaning angle. And to be honest, them as a couple instead of just besties kind of irks me for some reason. But at this point as well, I don't think J-Sam can work anymore. Britt's gone too. I don't see them breaking up Finn and Liz for another liaison redux either. Finn is actually becoming close with Elizabeth's kids. Aiden apparently came out to him off screen, so there you go. Also, Jake confided in him about a friend vaping and why he had the vape in the first place. He didn't reveal Danny's name, but, you know, there's a lot of trust in those kids. It feels like Elizabeth and Finn are probably on solid ground, even with this new writing team. I don't know. Angel, you said it's irking me that Christina and Molly have more faith in Jason than Sam. That's a little surprising, yeah. Although I guess, like, you know, Sam's in love with this guy and Dante's in bad shape, you know what I mean? I can't... She's a wreck right now. But at the same time, yeah, you're right. It's crazy, like... Sam arguably knows Jason better than anyone. So she should be right up there with Carly, but... I don't know. That's why I have a hard time buying the story. Anyway. Moving on from that, though, we also seen Jason reunite with more people this week. Danny's actually the one that finds him at the boathouse, and it was just kind of emotionless and awkward, to be honest. Jason was stone cold through their whole interaction, and so was Danny. No tears, no highly emotional impact either direction. Then he tells Danny not to tell Sam as well, which I didn't like. And then he reunites with Michael, and Jason was actually far more emotional about that than he was reuniting with his son, which had me feeling some type of way. Especially when he finds out that Michael had another kid before Michael called Willow in to nurse him back to health. But yeah, that kind of made me think about all the things that Jason still needs to find out. Like, Epiphany's gone, Britt's gone, and, like, I don't think he'll be surprised that Britt's gone, but he will be surprised on how she died, because he's probably just assuming if she's dead, it's because of her disease. But really, he died saving Jocelyn, or she died saving Jocelyn's life. So that'll be interesting to see him kind of, I don't know, grasp the concept of. Sorry, I'm missing everything y'all are saying. Oh, Jason doesn't remember Jagger because it was before the accident. I guess you're right, yeah. That makes sense. I'm trying to think, yeah, no, they wouldn't have interacted because Jason, I think, was still Jason Quartermain when Stone died, and Jagger, aside from Night Shift, hasn't been in Port Charles since then. So yeah. Yeah, Jason Morgan would have never met Jagger. You're right. I'm enjoying it because it's moving, but Dante needs to wake up or he's going to be like Lulu. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second here too. He's closer to Michael than he is to Danny, that's true. Charlie doesn't sit well with you because it's a complete rewrite for Jason to have romantic feelings for Carly. He has repeatedly told people he doesn't want Carly. I want to know if Monday they're going to mention the fact that they had at Kelly's. Who had a fight at Kelly's? Sorry, Kaiwan? There's my laundry. I would rather Jason be with a new woman, but insiders say Charlie's endgamed. But yeah, I can't picture him being with anyone else on canvas. It is what it is, I guess. Not a fan, but there we are. But yeah, Jason, like I said, Jason has to find out about Epiphany's death, Britt's death, Brando and Liam's death, all the things that went down with Sonny and Nina and Carly and Drew and the SEC. Like, he's got a lot to catch up on. And speaking of Carly and Drew broke up with her after finding out Jason was alive, because even he knows he can't compete with a very much alive Jason Morgan. And I know that some people think poorly of him because of it, but honestly, it's probably the smartest decision he's made since he's got out of prison. Drew wants to come first in her life, or at least second to her children. And I think that's a valid thing to want in a relationship. And even Carly can't argue that he wouldn't. So, I don't know. I'm okay with the breakup, even though it was super fast. And they seem to be chem testing Drew with Jordan a little bit. I mean, might as well. But, maybe he should get his head back on his shoulders first. Y'all sure Jason Morgan never met Jagger or recognized Jagger? I'm pretty sure. Because when Stone had AIDS, Jason was still Jason Quartermain. So, and I don't know, and Jagger was only there for a brief moment before Stone died. So, yeah, I don't think Jason Morgan would have shared scenes with Jagger. Steve said he doesn't know who his love interest is, but something might get teased. Interesting. Think he's still psychologically scarred from when he was... From what? When he get dumped by his wife in blank? Sorry, I don't know what you mean. Oh, they chem tested him with Willow too? I don't know if that was a chem test. That'd be crazy if they hooked Drew up with Willow. I feel like Willow kind of sees him as like an uncle, Because he rescued her and he's family, and I don't know. I don't think she sees him in that light. Alright, back to Jason though. Michael obviously had some questions for Jason, like where has he been the past 2 years? And why does Jason have an arm sleeve tattoo? Turns out they are writing that into the story. I know on some message boards there's been before the scene that we saw on whatever day that was, maybe Thursday. They were like, oh, they're not gonna address it. It's just Steve Burton's tattoo. But they've definitely made it a part of the story. They made Michael acknowledge that wasn't there before. So they're gonna make it a part of it. We don't know where it'll fall in the story, but they've kind of revealed where he's been, at least some of it so far. So here's Edmund. I hate that Sonny is so quick to judge Jason. Yeah. Maurice's father even said Carly and Jason are too close. Oh, I remember Maurice mentioning that. Alright. So, here's what we know about where Jason's been so far. Jason wasn't buried under the rubble of the cave collapse on Cassadine Island. He escaped another way, but 2 men were waiting for him on the other side. They held him prisoner until he agreed to do a job as a hired assailant, and when he found out that one of the men that they hired him to kill was Sonny, to force him to cooperate, they used some type of leverage against him, something that scares him to his core for some reason. What that is still a mystery, of course, because God forbid the writers let us in this early on something. But we do learn that Jagger is also involved in hiring Jason, something we found out through a brief flashback. Jason doesn't seem to know who Jagger is, and like we've been saying in the chat, kind of makes sense. As far as I know, Jason Q was still Jason Q when Stone was battling AIDS, and I feel like that was only like a 6-month arc. on GH, I believe. So even if he had gotten into the accident before Stone died, I think he would have just been kind of in the bed still, and Jagger wouldn't have been in town anyway. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, who's RICO charges? Yeah, the RICO charges I forgot to mention. So, yeah, there's RICO charges against someone. And that's the leverage. But we don't know who it's against. Like, Sonny wouldn't make sense, would it? Sonny wouldn't make sense. I mean, yeah, he's a criminal and stuff, but they're gonna hold Sonny's RICO charges against him unless he kills Sonny. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So, it's hard to say. Like, is it maybe something from Sam's past? Hard to say. So glad he wasn't brainwashed. Yeah, I didn't think he would be. I feel like, well, who knows? Maybe the writers were going to go there again, like the last writers. Maybe that's why they got fired, because they couldn't think of anything original. But who knows? They did pen Jason's last return. Maybe they just didn't want it to be the same. Now, as for Dante, he's been in critical condition for a week, and I can't tell who's more on the edge about it. Sam thinking that Jason might be responsible for putting him in that bed, or the audience for thinking Dominic Zampronia is on his way out the door. And for Rocco's sake, I hope that's not true, because then Rocco's not going to have any parents left, because they'll both be in comas or you know, whatever. Kaiwan, you gotta let the Susan Moore stuff go. It's not gonna happen. No one cares about her on the show anymore. Except maybe Heather. We'll get into her later, though. If it was RICO charges against Sonny, Jagger would have... Yeah, that's true. Jagger would have just put Sonny in jail. You're right. Maybe Carly while she was in the mob? But Carly was in the mob for such a brief time, but I guess it would make sense. Again, Steve said they had to change things. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we'll see how long this RICO charges thing lasts. But also, like, the current writers have been kind of putting little pieces here and there of their own story to kind of transition into it. So I feel like if that was part of the original plan, it might not be now. So that's why I think it's probably a new part of the story to change things up. RICO charges against Carly. I mean, you're probably right. Like, Jason's supposedly so in love with Carly, or I feel like that's the angle that they're gonna go with. And yeah, we shall see. Alright, but let's switch gears and talk about some of the other plots that happened in the brief moments away from the Jason show. Blaze's mother invited Blaze out for breakfast at Bobby's, which initially seemed kind of hopeful, but then she learned that Blaze's mom assumed she's dating a woman because of what happened with Link, her skeezy former producer, if you guys remember, which set Blaze off, and she stormed off. Hey, SLJ. The main thing I gather from these two's interaction is that they need to find a way to communicate better. Blaze seems quick to think the worst of her mom because of her religious upbringing, and a lot of speculation on what happened with her uncle, whereas her mom seems to jump to conclusions about Blaze's life because she doesn't seem to take time, or maybe she just doesn't have time to pay close enough attention to Blaze's life to see who her daughter really is. I kind of feel like they're both at fault for their current relationship. I do think there's actually hope for Blaze's mom, because she didn't seem too fazed about the idea of Blaze dating a woman, because she's like, well, okay, well, yeah, no, it makes sense. What happened with Link, you're healing, do what you need to do. Like, she seems open to the idea. She just thinks it's happening for the wrong reasons. But I think Blaze needs to sit her down and be like, no, Mom, I've actually known for however long that Blaze has known. We don't really know too much about Blaze's backstory and her sort of coming to terms with knowing that she's gay. And, you know, we got a lot to learn about Blaze. But I'm assuming that she probably learned, much like most of us learn in our sort of like early teens, you know, after puberty, we kind of realize what we're attracted to. Probably the same for Blaze. And she's just kind of hidden that part of her life. You know, we do know that Blaze hid her sexuality from her whole family out of fear. And people tend to think that our parents should know us better than anyone. But the reality is, the only thing the parents are going to know about their children is what we show them. You know what I mean? Like, parents aren't just going to assume. Like, for me, when my mom found out that I was gay, she had no idea. She genuinely had no idea that I was into men. And I'm not exactly like a super masculine guy. I had never dated a girl. And stereotypically, when I was a kid, I listened to the Spice Girls nonstop. That's such like a stereotypical gay guy thing. Until I was a teenager, and then I was listening to like pop punk and alternative rock and indie music and all this stuff. But anyway, I digress. I think that we give our parents too much credit, honestly. They're out here trying to figure out their own lives, just like the rest of us. So they can definitely miss out on certain things about their kids, for sure. Did Link sexually assault Blaze? I think it was, like, we never really seen him do more than harass her while the character was on screen. But they kind of imply that he may have done things at the start of her career, which did happen off screen. So, wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Don't worry, I used to listen to the Spice Girls and I'm straight as a dollar. But then I got into indie. I don't know. I'm just saying that, stereotypically, it's just more common for gay men to listen to the Spice Girls. I know that there are definitely straight men that listen to the Spice Girls. They were hot women. So, but most of their male fan base is gay. That was all I was getting at. It's like the stereotype, you know? Like, I'm sure there's straight guys that like Madonna and Lady Gaga. But we all know that most of their male fan bases are gay too. Who, me? Yes, me. Edmund. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, they only implied he was doing things. Yeah, like, we never seen it really happen on screen. We saw him get, like, a little fresh with her, but mostly, like, flirting and, like, making her uncomfortable. But I don't think, not really sexually assaulting her, at least on screen. Andrew said, my mom speculated because I never talked about crushes or anything. She straight up asked while I was trying to watch TV. I had to come out as straight. Oh, the struggle. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, parents don't necessarily know, okay? Just because they've raised you your entire life doesn't mean they're going to know what your sexual preference is, especially if you keep that part of your life private. And like you said, you're straight, you didn't really talk about it much with your mom, and she speculated you might be gay. Like, it's just, it is what it is. But yeah. Like I said, anyway, I think that there is hope between Blaze's mom and Blaze. They just need to communicate. Because I think that she really just wants her daughter to be happy. And maybe, in terms of her family surrounding her mom, maybe her family is homophobic, but maybe Blaze's mom is not. Blaze already said she's got a lot of gay friends, so she doesn't seem to mind. Whereas, like, if you're in like a Catholic upbringing, like an old school whatever, they're gonna try to keep away from those people. You know what I mean? So I don't know. They need to talk. That's the gist of it. They need to talk. Oh man. All right. Now, I really want to single out Friday's episode specifically because it was the first episode under the new writing team, and day one, surprisingly, was a Jason-less one, and most of it took place in the hospital, which is impressive. And I had mentioned this in the community tab on the channel, but it definitely felt like there was a new vibe to the show, which I kind of concluded might be because it felt like the cast was aware, and this was like the dawn of a new era, and they all decided to take on the material maybe a little bit differently than they usually would. I don't know, like there was something in the way, for example, that Michael Easton was playing Finn on Friday that felt different than usual. Like almost as if he played him with a lot more class and professionalism towards his fellow doctors and his patients and even his dad. Like an unpenetrable like leader vibe that he was giving off at the hospital. And I actually really enjoyed that about him on Friday. But even in the ways that Portia and Stella portrayed their characters on Friday, just there was a different air to them too. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on the exact thing overall, but there was definitely some differences and like just subtle differences in how they were taking on the material that was given to them. And I liked it. Even like the characters that all shared the scene in the hospital where it was like Laura, Robert, Diane, Finn, Portia, the random doctor extra that they gave lines to, like something felt different, especially when they were like discussing Heather. There was like some humor there, but like also some seriousness. It was a good balance, I thought. Sonny's gonna talk to Blaze's mom. Oh, I hope so. She said, "What are you?" Or are you like your aunt, or are you AC/DC? In her words, bisexual. Do you think about things like that? I don't know. Yeah, Finn was playing him more like a Steve. Yeah, you got that vibe too, Kaiwan. I was gonna say he reminded me of Steve Hardy. Like that's exactly. I was scared to say it honestly, because like that's quite a comparison. But that's exactly what I was feeling. Like that's the vibe that I got, and it makes me wonder if they're going to go with him being a new chief of staff. You know, if Terry and Portia were to step down for whatever reason. But that's the vibe I got too, man. That's the vibe I got. Yeah, there was something like just a different air to him, and I think like it really came across on screen, and I did get Steve Hardy vibes from Finn, and that is freaking surprising, because generally speaking I can take or leave Finn, you know. I don't love his character. In terms of the characters he's played on GH, I like Finn better than Silas. John McBain was cool. But yeah, I don't know. I think I still, when it comes to the One Life characters, I always feel some type of way, so. Hey Jacarius, I've been alright. I think y'all see what you want to see with the doctors. Well, no, like, I don't usually see that with Finn. That's what I'm saying, it's bizarre. Like, there was something different about it. You think you like the Hat Daddy story for Friday? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But right now, I kind of want to get into Heather. Hey, Leopardess. Yeah. So, in regards to Heather, they've taken an interesting direction with her character. After looking into what's causing Heather's health scare, they came to the conclusion that she is being poisoned by the metal hip replacement she had at some point off screen, which could infect her personality. To me, it's giving Franco's tumor made him do the murder vibes. And I don't know how I feel about that. But the one thing I will say is that Heather Weber being the Hook killer definitely seemed pretty out there, even for Heather. But at the same time, she's murdered people in the past, way before this. People that she feels has wronged her children, which is exactly what they said Heather's motive was for going after the people she went after, in regards to Esme. But at the same time, despite that story, Allie Mills has always managed to bring like a type of humanity towards Heather that her predecessor Robin Mattson hadn't done for as long as I've seen her play the role of Heather, especially in the last decade. So I don't exactly hate the prospect of having them level her out a little bit, the character, I mean. They can only have her escape mental institutions so many times, like, before it gets ridiculous. And we crossed that line, like, almost a decade ago now. Long before Allie stepped into the role. Alright, have a good one, Jacarius. John McBain was in the wrong element. Yeah. Duty-bound cop. Yeah, and the cops on GH are, not the best. I don't know what they were like on One Life, but obviously the vibe that I got from John McBain with what little I knew about One Life is that he was kind of a hero on the show, so doesn't really suit him so well in the Keystone Cops of Port Charles. Oh man. Also, side note on the Heather stuff, Heather asking Laura what Kevin Collins was like in bed because she wanted to compare him to Ryan was hilarious. Kind of messed up, but hilarious. Like, I wouldn't mind them, like the writers, keeping those eccentric parts of Heather alive, regardless of where they take her, like what direction they take her. I think what might happen is Heather's gonna really play up to her newfound change in life, but she's gonna still be a little bit crazy. But I think that she's not going to like do murders anymore. I think she's gonna scheme her way into having a role in Ace's life, though, for sure. She didn't play the soft stub. That's true. I think Drew's gonna turn in Jason. Oh, maybe. Yeah, you might be right, Leopardus. Alright. Let's go back to Finn for just a minute. More so about Gregory. Something I found really interesting in Friday's episode was that they clearly had Gregory's ALS progressing pretty hard. He couldn't type anymore. He resigned from the newspaper. He had to get Finn to type out something for him. He wasn't going to at first, but then he changed his mind, came back and asked him to do it, and then went home to take a nap. And after Gregory left Finn's office, Finn called a colleague who I'm assuming might be in like a Doctors Without Borders kind of situation. But he's obviously kind of a specialist in that field. And he called this colleague kind of looking for a Hail Mary to give his father more time. And people are speculating that it might be start of the reversing of this ALS storyline. I actually hope it doesn't. Like I said in the past, as someone who knows somebody that passed away from it recently, I think it would be kind of insulting to give him a miracle at this point that doesn't exist for anyone else. And even if they were to pen it as like a misdiagnosis, because they've used in the past on this story a real well-renowned clinic that specializes in ALS during the story, like, it wouldn't sit right with me to reverse it and have him live. And I like Gregory, and I like the actor, but they've done the story, like, they gotta see it through to the end. Like, it's not a story that you can just kind of, you know, put back and reverse. The COVID poisoning is whacked. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. That's why I was feeling some type of way about it. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting turn, and I don't like it because it gave me Franco Tumor vibes. Hey DG, the new writers are going to turn Greg's illness around. I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't. Yeah, I hope it doesn't, guys. It's too insulting for people that have battled with it. And, like, I just lost someone to ALS, like, in December, so wouldn't sit right with me at all. Yeah, they can slow his ALS down, and that's what I got from Finn saying that. I think he just wanted to give his father more time, but I don't think that they're going to reverse it. At least I hope they don't. Sorry. All right. Now, another noteworthy thing that happened on Friday is that Alexis may be getting her lawyer license back. After another run-in with her new boss, Nina, Alexis was ready to throw in the towel. Diane had paid her a visit because the gossip columnist that Nina hired wrote a story about Robert the DA being in bed with Diane the mob lawyer, which she wasn't too proud about. Obviously, Alexis had nothing to do with it. And explained that to Diane, that Nina kind of forced this gossip columnist on her, and she didn't read the gossip column. But Alexis is ready to quit. And Diane and her started talking about her days as a lawyer, and Diane thinks that she might be able to get the verdict overturned against Alexis losing her law license. Call me a realist, but if I were Alexis, I would be asking Diane why she has only said this now. After complaining about missing being a lawyer for years, why is it now that Diane thinks she can get it overturned? Like, that's what's so crazy about the thing. You can say what you want about, like, the legalese about it. I don't know much about the law in that sense, if something like what Alexis went through can be overturned. But I would be like, why didn't you say this 3 years ago before I started this stupid journalism job? Also, Alexis, oh, hold on. DG, you're talking about stuff we've already talked about. They already disrespected people with spina bifida. Yeah, it's true. But there's a new writing team, so I'm hoping they don't. Tracy's tripping over a man that is dying. Yeah, she is. Alexis should have been getting her law license. Diana stated a couple times that she could get her license back. I don't remember her saying that in the past. When did she say that last time? Because the new writers know that Alexis being a journalist is bullshit. That I don't disagree with. Like, it felt like they had no idea what to do with Alexis and they just threw her into journalism, just like they did Lulu. It didn't make sense for Lulu to be in it either. Maybe Diane had to do some research to see if it can be done. Well, time will tell, I guess. I don't know. I feel like long before Alexis lost her license, we really didn't see her being a lawyer that much. You know, she was always in like a wacky relationship, and they barely showed her being in lawyer mode. Every rule has a loophole. That's true. All right. Moving on from that, though, Marshall. Let's talk about him. So, this man found out recently that he was misdiagnosed with schizophrenia, and with the help of his family, decided that he needed to track down this doctor and find out why. My first initial thought, to be honest, was why. Like, it could have been a simple misdiagnosis during a time where there probably wasn't a whole lot of information on schizophrenia. I mean, this was 40 years ago. But it turns out that there's a possible reason besides that as to why, revealed by Kevin Collins. And it turns out that this doctor had a reputation for being racist. And I mean, surely it could be deeper than that. We still don't really even know what exactly went down that made Marshall think that something was wrong with him mentally in the first place back then. Because obviously he had to go to the doctor first, right? Like, he probably felt like something was wrong with him, went over there, explained the symptoms, and then maybe the doctor was like, it's schizophrenia. But what happened? Like, I don't if they've addressed it, I think and I could be remembering this falsely, but I feel like it had something to do with a protest, and the way he sort of reacted during that protest got him in trouble, and then it was blamed on schizophrenia. I don't know. They need to sort of refresh our memories into what initially went down. However, Marshall was ready to confront this man, except unfortunately for Marshall, the doctor passed away. So they may never get the answers that they're looking for. I do have a feeling that most of the audience are probably okay with that. I mean, there's nothing, like, it's realistic, TG, to have him deal with a racist from 40 years ago, because it was probably around that time where it was still rampant, to be fair. But I just feel like what more can be done? You know what I mean? Like, if that is the reason that Marshall, was misdiagnosed, and I truly feel like there's more to it, but I feel like the doctor is dead. What more can they do with the story? Who are they gonna sue? Like, you know what I mean? And also, and I think Marshall even pointed this out, Marshall didn't go for a second opinion. The dude just decided to take his word for it and buggered off for 40 years. So like what more can be done? Like, you know what I mean? What more can be said? I mean, I suppose they don't need to say more than what they said on Friday's episode, because you were misdiagnosed because the doctor was a racist asshole. The end. That sucks, but like, it's a way to wrap up the story. I don't know. I still like the Ashfords, but they do be needing better stories. I think they're all played by extremely talented actors, though. Yeah, I just wish. Yeah, we need more. We need better stories for the Ashfords. And Robert, who plays Marshall, is top notch, man. I just wish that they'd give him better stories. But now that this is sort of wrapped, and like, I don't think they can do more with it. Truly. Like, the act. Well, we never saw an actor. The character, though never seen on screen, is dead. So like, what else? Where can they go with that? And maybe that was the point, just to kind of wrap it up, so that they can start new stories for the Ashfords. That's my guess. I was really hoping that Marshall's schizo was real, so Trina would inherit it. Yeah, that was the big thing, right? And maybe they were going to go with that direction. Who knows? Hard to say. At one point, maybe they switched it, but clearly they won't. So, yeah, it just really created angst for Trina's paternity story, and then nothing more came of it. And do we care about the misdiagnosis as an audience? I would if there was more to it. I know that it's not a popular story from the audience overall. I just think that the story could have had potential if it was written better to kind of make it a broader story, and maybe figuring out what really was wrong with Marshall, because obviously something was. It wasn't schizophrenia, but what was it? That's what I want to know. I just think that they kind of ended it by just saying, nah, he misdiagnosed you because he was racist. Like, I don't know. It just felt like that's the end. Maybe they'll touch, a slightly bit more on Monday or Tuesday or, next week, just to kind of, put it up in a bow. But, hey, Laura. But, yeah, I don't know. There's nowhere more that they can really go with it. Yeah, I would have given the story more weight for sure. Portia needs a new hairstyle. I mean, honestly, GH's cast could use a wardrobe overhaul. Like, when I look back at, shows from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the fashion for most of the characters was on point. And now it's a lot more, I don't know, they just dress more cheaply. Or maybe too real. I liked when everyone kind of looked fierce no matter where they were from. I wonder if they will put him with Aunt Stella. I don't know. They could drop that as well. I wasn't truthfully interested in seeing Stella and Marshall get together. Like, I want to know who this mystery man is, like, that she had been dating. Bring him on. I want answers. Who's talking about pregnancy? What? I think we were talking about Trina's paternity, like at the time when it was still up in the air whether Curtis or oh my God, Taggart was the father of Trina. Yeah, the mystery man sounds better. Yeah. I want to know the man that kept Stella out of town for so long. You want to see the part in her curly hair. Speaking of wardrobe, who is dressing Maximista? Right. They need to start writing her better, or putting her in better clothes. If they're gonna kind of bring back the Spixie vibes, and who knows what they're gonna do now that we got a new writing team, but if they go down the Spixie route, kind of reuniting, I want Fierce Maxie back, and that includes her wardrobe. I want Maxie to run Crimson. That's what I want, like she rightfully deserves. The clothes are from TJ Maxx or TOSD or Ross. Trina fans want Trina pregnant? No. I don't. Good Lord. And I'm a Trina fan. I don't want that. She is too young and got her life ahead of her. All right. So the last thing I want to talk about from Friday's episode is Joss and Dex. Mainly what Nina did to them. As you guys know, Joss and Dex made their way back to Port Charles because Michael said Sonny might need him more than ever, and they were the ones who found Dante shot but bandaged. But after that was all over with, Jocelyn was still wanting Dex to stay in Port Charles, but Dex is still adamant that he needs to leave Port Charles. He's packing his boxes. That's when Nina shows up. Jocelyn was dismissive with Nina, which no surprise there, like she is Carly's daughter. But Nina clapped back and kind of just blurted out that she had seen Dex walk into Cyrus's room at the hospital disguised as an orderly, and really heavily implied that he was planning to kill him for Sunny. And judging by the previews, she's come to that conclusion as well, and she's not happy with Dex over that. It kind of makes me think that Dex might be out the door. Jocelyn being mad at him for almost killing someone for Sunny would be the best gift Dex could ask for, since he's trying to leave without her. So if she hates him, it's an easier decision to let him go before he actually does kill for Sunny the next time. If there's gonna even be one, because now that Jason's back and whatnot, obviously they're gonna get back to Sunny and Jason healing at some point, I'm sure, but we'll see. But yeah, like, I don't know what to tell you, Jocelyn. Like, your boy wanted to still work for Sunny, whether Michael hired him or not. So he was willing to do things for him. That's the man you've been sleeping with. And if you don't like that, then you gotta move on to another man. Kaiwan, it doesn't matter the size of a person. There is fashionable clothes for every size out there. Legitimately, like, the size is no excuse on how to dress someone. Truthfully, there are options for every body type out there. They just gotta make the effort to find it, and really not much of an effort. I got some fierce, bigger friends that like dress fierce, so I also think that Brooke Kerr's wardrobe is usually banging. Yeah, Brooke's like Portia's clothes are usually pretty good. Yeah, Brooke does. Yeah, Brooke is ageless, man. She hasn't aged since her Passion days. Nina busting Dex was kind of funny. Nina usually annoys me because she's so cardboard, but that was a funny scene. I feel like the new writers might take her into this zany direction of just always like crapping on people. Dex makes the worst hitman. Yeah. Yeah, Liz practically threw him out of the hospital. Jocelyn is so full of ish. I don't feel bad for the blonde, which, even though I love... the blonde witch, even though I love Eden. Dex can go work security at Aurora. Might as well. I don't know why Joss didn't think Dex could have killed someone. No doubt. But anyways, that's all I kind of had for the recap. Again, I want to keep it to like just an hour-long live stream. While my cough is almost gone, I'm still taking it easy when I can, especially because I'm still having to rehearse and sing. Yeah. Man, it's crazy. The festival passes, because it's like 5 different venues over 5 days. Those are all sold out, but now the individual tickets go on sale, I think tomorrow. And I found out like what other artists I'm playing with. There's like 3 other bands on the roster, and they're all bands that I like. So I'm like slightly intimidated to be opening for all of them. They're like bands that I've promoted on like my music and YAG thing that I do here in town. So I'm excited that we're all just kind of part of the same thing. So Cena is officially over. Yeah, I think so. I think that ship has sailed. We didn't really see much of it this week, but they could be going into a Sunny and Ava direction. Don't know how I feel about that one. Is the thing you're doing like the Austin thing we do in America? What do you mean? Dex got caught multiple times. True. Is there any chance you're gonna get a record contract for? I mean, I doubt it. But like, realistically, you know, it's not the 90s anymore or the early 2000s. pretty much anyone can put their music out there and find success in some way. I think the only thing that getting a record deal sort of helps with is like money. You know what I mean? Like they're funding things like music videos and tours and things like that. But you know, I'm just starting out. I'm okay with like hopping on this ride and seeing where it takes me. I'm just stoked to even be playing a show locally because, you know, so many of my friends are local musicians and, you know, they play great shows. They play dive bars like some, you know, major like record contracted bands play stadium tours. So I don't know, just getting the opportunity to do that is cool. And, you know, it's that little dive bar that I'm playing at. It's not like a big venue or anything, but for me, like just getting to play, you know, my original songs with a band behind me, and not just like any band, but like band of musicians that I admire that live in my town, is like a cool enough experience. A record deal gives you money, but it also gives you oversight and someone else making the call. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. You know, and I do have an artistic vision, and I'm going to enjoy getting to do that for the time being. And if it turns into something more, we'll see. But if it's not, I'm content just like doing this and seeing where it takes me. Oh yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Yeah, I'm not wearing green, but ironically, my green hat is right here. I didn't do anything for St. Patrick's Day. I was putting up some posters around town for a show that I'm setting up for my other job, and I took the dog to the dog park. First time that I've been to that dog park since my other dog died, so that was a bit hard. But Toffee's a bigger dog, and the dog park that we used to take George at was divided. So like for like small dogs and big dogs, so we were in the big dog side, and I really couldn't really bring myself to look at the small dog side. It was still a little hard, but you know, I forced myself to do it because I had to at some point. My mom takes her to that dog park all the time. I'll usually go if it's at a different dog park, but I just kind of bit the bullet and tried it anyway. Because she was helping me with those posters, actually. She was driving me around town. Austin Music Festival. Oh, no, this is not like a big music festival. This is just like a local one that kind of takes place in 5 different small venues across town. It's nothing like a major one, but it's one that's fairly brand new. The first one was just last year, and I really enjoyed last year's. And it's run by someone that I really respect in the local music scene here. So just being accepted to do it was just like the coolest thing. How are you warming up to the new dog? I've warmed up to her. Like there was not like too much time. Like I always you know, when she got her, of course I was hurt because I felt like it was too soon, but I wasn't going to treat the dog any differently because, you know, it's not her fault. So, you know, I got close to the dog right away, and I love the dog, and she jumps on me every time I come home from work, and she adores me, and every time I come through the door, she brings her toy to me and wants to play instantly, and she'll attack me with her tongue and just lick my face if I'm just sitting somewhere. She's psychotic, but she's cute. You're watching Brian's Hope. Record labels often enslave musicians. If you can make it on your own, that's the best. Yeah, that's why I'm not really looking for a record contract. Would it be cool to kind of resonate worldwide with some help, sure, but like these days with social media and YouTube and all that, like you can definitely make a name for yourself around the world on your own. It's a new era, man. Do you get to interact with fans after your events? Well, I mean, this is, okay, so the show that I'm performing at, it's in a dive bar setting, so it's obviously already very intimate. And I know most people in the music scene here, just based on what I've done in the past, like just promoting the local artists here. But and it's funny, like that's how I've met musicians in the first place, is going to these intimate venues and just getting to share a beer with them after the show. And it's interesting, like even the last couple of weeks where I've gone out to enjoy like another concert, people are recognizing me as Dion Gabriel the artist now, instead of like just the music and YAG guy, which is pretty weird, but kind of cool. Like even I went to a show, was it last weekend or the weekend before, and the bouncer was like, hey, your drummer is a buddy of mine, because they saw the content of AJ playing Madness, and they're like, yeah, I saw that he's like playing for you at your show. And I was like, oh my god, that's so wicked that you like recognize me. It's funny. All right. But yeah, I'm gonna bounce. I will be live streaming again on Wednesday. But the Sunday ones, I think, for the next couple of weeks here, what day is it? It's what, the 17th? So 23rd, 30th, and the 6th. I think the next 24th, 31st, and the 6th, or the 7th. I think those Sundays I'm not going to live stream. Maybe the one after that, because that'll be the weekend of. But I'll make sure that I'm on every Wednesday. So one live stream a week for the next month or so, and then back to normal Wednesdays and Sundays after that, until the next show, which I'm not really thinking about past this one yet. We'll see. If you ever make an album, put it on YouTube first so I can listen to it. So actually, one thing, maybe you guys don't know this, but whenever you put at least I guess you can select which ones, but for me, when I put a single out officially, I do it through something called DistroKid, and DistroKid sort of sends it off to every streaming platform, including YouTube. So it's gonna be on there regardless. It'll be on YouTube, like anything that I have, YouTube, Spotify, anything that I put out officially will be on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon Music, like every streaming platform that there is, including YouTube. So you'll hear it. And I don't know about a full album, but an EP might be in the works. So stay tuned. Probably not for like a while though, guys. Like maybe next year. but I'm working on it. It's gonna happen. All right, but yeah, thanks so much for watching, everybody. If you liked this video, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. I'd really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys this Wednesday. Peace out. Mwah.